Hi everyone, I'm Mara, and the play I'm going to be reviewing today is Sophocles' Ajax. This production is by the American Theater of Actors, and it was directed by Jeff S. Daly. The scene that I've chosen for today is the monologue that Ajax performs right before his suicide. I chose this for a couple of different reasons. I really enjoy a good monologue, who doesn't? But I also really kind of appreciated the emotional turmoil that Ajax goes through in this scene. I do have experience with mental health issues. I do know people who have attempted to take their own life. So the emotional state that Ajax is in when he delivers this monologue is a state that I have seen people go through. It's a conflict that I've kind of witnessed people experience firsthand. So it really kind of hit me emotionally watching somebody go through these movements again, gesticulating in the wild way that he does and things like that. It was something that was very familiar to me. So I did choose it for that reason. I also chose it for the actor. Matthew Hansen is our Ajax in this performance, and I do find that he is the best actor in the production. The way that he portrays the emotions that he's feeling, just his delivery of every line, I got goosebumps at certain points, and I just think that it was well done, and he's definitely the best performer in this particular production. So, without further ado, here we go, and I hope you like it. So the first thing I notice here is the set design. I imagine it's probably very similar in ancient times. There probably wasn't a lot in terms of set production. The only things here to really indicate to us that we're at the seashore are the blue curtain in the background, we have the blue spotlight, and the wave sounds that kind of introduced the scene. As an audience, it is kind of expected that we suspend our disbelief. We're no longer sitting in a modern theater, or in my case, behind my desk behind a computer screen, but I'm actually on the beach in ancient Greece kind of watching Ajax do his thing here.
Sacrificial killer.
He seems almost contemplative in the beginning of his monologue, like he's really kind of considering what he's about to do and the consequences of both his previous actions and his future actions.
It is a gift from Hector, a warrior who was a friend. Mouse!
But at the same time, the actor then flips very quickly between the sorrow and grief or remorse to the rage, the anger, and the madness. And it reminds me a lot of bipolar disorder, how you kind of have these really manic highs and these really low lows without much in between. The actor does something very similar, the way he kind of flips between those two extremes. It really kind of exemplifies also the inner conflict, this turmoil that he has in his head, stuck between having to do both roles, of course, being executioner and victim, just like we talked about in class. And he starts to invoke the gods. He starts with Zeus, who's the king of the gods, and he seems fearful, which is appropriate. Gods should be feared, especially Zeus. And he's asking things of them. See the anguish on his face. I imagine he's thinking of Hector in this moment and how Hector was kind of dragged for miles behind Achilles' chariot after he died, and he doesn't want that to happen to him. He wants Teucer to find him and give him a good burial, and he doesn't want to end up like Hector. Hermes is the god of messengers, but is also the god of travelers, so he would be responsible for helping souls get down to the underworld. But he's also asking Hermes for a swift death. He doesn't want to suffer. Oh, these little ticks that kind of indicate this craziness or this madness. It's kind of what I like about this actor's portrayal. The Furies. The Furies are the goddesses of vengeance, and they do punish the wicked. And as he says before, they see all human suffering, and suffering is a theme that we've seen throughout everything that we've read so far in class. And he's asking for more suffering, so he's asking the Furies to curse those who have wronged him, curse the wicked, Agamemnon, Menelaus, really the entire army in general. See these wild gesticulations, this yelling. He's angry. This is what he wants. He's invoking the gods to do this for him.
Helios, whose chariot wheels climb that steep path to heaven.
I mean, I'm
and look
exhausted
down
kind
over
of
my
watching him.
father's
He's
land.
exerting so much energy, but it's fantastic in the way he's emoting it all.
And tell the story of my miseries.
Tell the story of my miseries, my destiny. He wants his story shared with people. He doesn't want this kept a secret.
Who nursed me? That poor lady, when she hears this news, will, I think, sing out a huge, lamenting dirge throughout the city.
This actor uses his whole body to kind of display all of this emotion, and it's really palpable.
To start the final act. Oh, death.
I love when he starts talking about death. Death in the text is capitalized. Both times it's mentioned, which to me means it's a person. And here the actor points. He's breaking the fourth wall, and I don't know if that's a direction that he was given or something that he decided to do himself, but it really adds a personification to it because he's pointing. It's almost like death, Thanatos, that god is next to me. It really added a creep factor and kind of gave me goosebumps. Again, these wild gesticulations, this anguish that he seems to be in.
My father studied hard. And glorious Athens, whose race was bred related to my own.
There's water here, which is again reinforcing the fact that we're supposed to be at the beach, at the seaside, in case you've forgotten throughout the duration of the scene. This kind of reinforces exactly the location we're in. And here it's almost like he's washing away what he's done. He's washing away his sins before he decides to take his life. That's kind of what it seemed to me.
I'll say to those below in Hades.
He's almost a little scary in this instance. But then the actor almost appears like he's hesitating. That might just be the way the actor delivers that. Not the most graceful of death scenes, but I'm not quite sure how you can portray a realistic death scene on a stage. I also find it interesting that his body isn't concealed. In the footnotes in our text, it says it's not really explicitly stated whether the body is supposed to be obvious or whether the body is supposed to be halfway concealed, partly concealed. It is the only death that really occurs on stage, and his body is still in plain view. So that was kind of a directorial decision that I found interesting, that they don't in any way, shape, or form decide to obscure his body. What we won't see here, but if you go to watch the performance, you will, is that the chorus actually is on the parapets above where Ajax is lying here. So it is a way for his body to be obscured from the characters, from the other, people in the play, and yet it's not obscured from us. To me, it kind of is showing the audience the whole truth. You're seeing everything that the other characters are not supposed to necessarily be seeing or not seeing right away, and the audience is kind of just always visible. We're kind of always on the inside of that truth, and so I thought that was an interesting decision that the directors made for this particular production. And there we have it. And that's Ajax's death scene. I really liked this production. I thought that it was well done. Not all of the actors were my favorite. Tecmessa kind of yelled more of her lines than she emoted them. But altogether, I think it was very well done. Matthew Hansen was by far my favorite actor in the show. I think he gave the more realistic delivery. I think he portrayed the character the way he was meant to be portrayed, or at least the way that in reading the text I felt he should have been portrayed. Again, I really liked his juxtaposition between the sorrow and the grief, and then the madness and the rage, and how he used his entire body to kind of portray those emotions so that you really, really feel it. I mean, those gestures, those wild gestures, that's hitting all the way to the back of whatever theater he's in. You could be in the very last row and you're still going to see everything that actor is feeling on stage. And it wouldn't be successful, I think, without that emotion. You really need to understand that this isn't necessarily something that Ajax wants to do, but it's something that he feels like he has to do. And he's invoking all of these gods, the Furies and Zeus and Helios and Hermes and death, you know, Thanatos, the god of death himself, he's asking all of those, come and watch this, come and witness this, see what's happening, and then tell my truth, tell my story, in the sense of Helios, and punish those who have done me wrong in the case of the Furies. So I really just, this was definitely a scene that really hit me close to home, and I appreciated the actor's delivery of it, and I hope that you guys appreciated my review and reaction to it. If anybody is interested in the rest of this play, it is available on YouTube. I really just searched Sophocles' Ajax performance, and it was one of the top videos that came up right away. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. If you're looking for a deeper understanding in terms of the way the play is meant to be viewed, I definitely recommend giving it a shot, because again, I feel like I got a better understanding from watching it than I would have ever done just strictly on reading the text alone. So it is something that I recommend, and I hope you guys enjoy. And that's it. I'll see you guys in class. Bye.